This is a free sample of the book, Reinvent Ideal, What to Do When You're Depressed and No One Cares Because You're Not a Chick, by Cairo Copeland. The first half of this book is posted right here on YouTube, free for everyone to listen to. If you like this content and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/ideal. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/ideal. Intro: The male suicide pandemic. Go to school, get a good job, get married, settle down, have kids, and then you'll be happy. Happy wife, happy life. Most guys follow that advice. Why aren't we happy? Male suicide is the highest it has ever been for 20 years. Not only is it not a happy life, it's no life. Seeing as how everyone hates us, is that any surprise? The suicide rate for males is 3 times higher than it is for women. It is the second leading cause of death for young men. The media is silent on the subject, and no one seems to care. Teenage boys commit suicide at 5 times the rate of teenage girls. A feminist challenged me on that statistic. She said it's just that men are more successful at their suicide attempts because they're more violent with it. Due to our violent nature, she added. Why then was the suicide rate in 1940 equal between male and female? Did women get less violent, or men more so? The rate for men accelerated in the early 70s and has been on the rise since then. But how does the rest of the world respond to this stat? Maybe the correct solution is for guys to be able to share their feelings, make their thoughts known, and be more vulnerable. It's traditionally not been welcomed. But we're not told to do this now in an encouraging way. Instead, the world says we're bastions of toxic masculinity if we don't. Even dishing out a prescription that should be an offer of help, the world phrases it as an attack. As expected, many guys would rather die than live in today's world. When we're not being attacked, we're being blamed for our own problems. The Office of National Statistics had this to say about the rising suicide rate. Generally, higher rates of suicide among middle-aged men in recent years might be because this group is more likely to be affected by economic adversity, alcoholism, and isolation. It could also be that this group is less inclined to seek help. No self-reflection, of course, on how modern society has failed males across the board. And no mention of the following: anti-male sentiment that is prevalent everywhere from classrooms to courtrooms. We're told by our mothers, teachers, sisters, female friends, movies, and pop culture that women want a nice, sweet, mindful man, but they turn us down every time to be with a douchebag. When it comes to forming and maintaining relationships with women, we're expected to just get it. No one tells us how to just get it. And if we seek information on how to get it, we're viewed very unfavorably. We're expected to read her mind. Many men have experienced this scenario. He asks her if she wants anything while he's going out, and she says no. But later, he finds out she did want something, and her expectation was that it should have been obvious to him. We're portrayed as bumbling idiots in ads, movies, and pop culture. You've probably seen the commercials where the dad is left to do the household chores and struggles with them like a moron. This has resulted in our thoughts and opinions being discredited before we're even given a chance to express them. In a lot of cases, our relationships with women fail the cost-benefit analysis, and even pointing this out gets us labeled as insensitive, materialist assholes. It is socially acceptable for a woman to move back in with her parents. Not the case for a man, even in desperate times. Social scientists estimate that while 42% of marriages end in divorce, 66% of them are initiated by women. And we're the ones with commitment issues. Divorce is very unforgiving on men. The man will likely lose primary custody of his kids, a large share of his assets, and substantial control of his future income. Divorce increases his likelihood of suicide as well. It is socially acceptable for a woman to choose a man that makes more than her, but a man does not have that option. Even if he did, he wouldn't take it for fear of social shame. As men, we don't have a support group. Emotional first aid is non-existent among each other. Women have this with their closest friends, but good luck finding that same connection among guys, even brothers. And society tells us to just man up. The presumption of bad intentions is always hanging over our head. If a man is seen out in public with a child, onlookers are more likely to think he's a pedophile that kidnapped that child than they are to think it is his actual offspring. The world doesn't trust men with children anymore. We're told we must do everything we can to win the approval of women, but everything we're told to do in order to do it causes us to lose respect from both women and fellow men, even from ourselves. It's perfectly all right and encouraged for a woman to have selective standards for the men that she'll date. But a man is not allowed to have standards for women. He must accept them and all their flaws as they are, or else he's not a real man. We're loved only conditionally. Women, children, and pets are loved unconditionally. But a man is only loved under the condition that he provides. Once we are judged to be useless by either an employer or an ex-wife, there is no one offering us a countering opinion. For the most part, the world will fall in agreement with the employer or ex in the form of unsympathetic governments and courts. Complain about any of this and you will not be met with sympathetic ears. The fact of the matter is that no one cares because you're not a chick. If you're a straight male, you're a danger that must be kept in check. But if you're female, you're the future and must be cared for. That's been the message worldwide, pushed by all social imperatives. And as the voices that express that imperative get louder and more plentiful, male suicide increases right with it. While man-hating has been around since the 1960s and 70s, the mouthpieces of it existed only on the margins of society. Now, it is the mainstream of modern culture. The fempowerment mandate has spoken. It demands that anything that benefits, celebrates, protects, or propels women upward, even at the expense of men, must be done as it is the correct course of action. Few spaces exist now for males that are free of criticism, mockery, and contempt. What has heightened the severity of this attack is seeing how the other gender is treated. In the social pecking order today, women are held in high regard. They are seen as virtuous, trustworthy, and valuable no matter what they do with their lives. Even if they do nothing at all, spending the entirety of their lives residing in their parents' home, they are still more valuable to society than the man that rises at the crack of dawn to ensure the necessary service of waste collection is done on time. When we're young boys, we're assigned some value and looked at with slight favor, but it all seems to disappear the moment we turn 13 or pass through puberty. After that, we're judged on our usefulness to others, how much money we can earn, how good of a provider we can be to a wife, or to the government through taxes. Once you grow up, and life doesn't go as you had hoped, you may become depressed, but no one cares, because you're not a chick. The fempowerment mandate has taken claim on all the concern that society can express and demand it be directed exclusively to women. There's one item that is far worse than all the sorrows listed off earlier, and is perhaps catalyst to why so many males are ending themselves. How we're told to live, through social imperatives and cultural conditioning, is not a way that allows us to be happy. In fact, it causes more misery than anything else life throws at us. Want to know how to avoid the greatest cause of male misery? Hear about the life path described in the next chapter. And I beg you, if you have a son and want to protect them from a ruined life and heightened risk of suicide, encourage him to avoid the life path described in the next chapter. Thank you for listening to this free sample of the book, Reinvent Ideal: What to Do When You're Depressed and No One Cares Because You're Not a Chick, by Cairo Copeland. If you enjoyed it and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/ideal. The book is available on Kindle, paperback and Audible at reinventideal.com/ideal.